Mrs. Child. It's been a while. A lot has changed, including my background. So we're gonna jump into another 5 chapters of dusting it off for another set of eyes. So, shall we begin? Chapter 6, Forgotten. So dramatic. Zim cursed. His hands were shaking and his squeedly spooch was twisting and churning. It's just not possible, his mind howled. How could this have happened? Not the worst thing in the world. I feel like I'm going to be saying that a lot, but his mind howled. Thoughts aren't audible. Howling is probably not the best descriptor. Line break. This is ridiculous. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4 line breaks. And I bet you this chapter is less than 300 words long. Probably under 200 words long. Maybe between 200 and 300 words. Anyways, line break. Every breath hurt. Every muscle screamed. Dib groaned feverishly, clenching and unclenching his fists. I can buy that every breath hurts. Every muscle screamed. Probably not every muscle. Because Zim only went after his torso. His leg muscles probably don't hurt. His arm muscles probably don't hurt. His neck muscles probably don't hurt. He could feel the computer's robotic arms probing him, checking his condition. How can he feel, how does he know what's probing him and what's checking his condition? That's a level of awareness he shouldn't have right now. Unless, if I want him to know that the computer is checking his condition, I should have the computer assessing his condition out loud. He wanted nothing more than to shove them away, but he had no strength. With his mind clouded by pain, his imagination ran unfettered. Dib is already a highly imaginative individual. He doesn't need pain clouding his mind for that to happen. I'll never see Earth again. Zim will take me back to Urk and present me as a live display to his tallists. I'll be gawked at, poked at, and dissected live over and over again. I'll be their science project, their only living Earth specimen. No. Zim will keep me here in orbit and destroy Earth because I'm not there to stop him. Then he'll come back and torment me whenever he's in a bad mood to cheer himself up. I'll live the rest of my days being torn apart and sealed back together. But, he started, moaning as the motion pulled at his stitches. Isn't that exactly what I was going to do to Zim? Hysterical laughter bubbled up in his throat, and he laughed great raspy laughs, crying from the pain but unable to stop. Cosmic justice to the highest degree. Line break. Zim marched down the hall, his boot steps echoing. Poking his head into sick bay, he peered at Dib. He seemed conscious enough. Confident, Zim marched in. Dib's eyes widened and he tried to roll away, but shrieked at the pain. I understand he tried to roll away here, but like a minute ago we just established he doesn't even have the strength to swat at the robotic arms poking him. Zim reached him and clamped one set of claws around his skull. How big is Zim's hand? I don't think he can actually... Within seconds he located the hole he had drilled and shoved in a second chip. I don't think microchips work the way that I'm saying that they work. I don't think you can actually create a chip, shove it into a hole in somebody's head, and it does whatever the first chip did, and also I think he's trying to access memories with this chip. It doesn't even connect to anything. It's just like, where's that hole? Poke. Here's another upgrade for you. Line break. Terror coursed through Dib. A sense of otherness invaded his mind, grasping for knowledge, searching for memories. That's another thing. If there was such a chip that could record your memories, I don't think it would be felt as a presence. It's technology. I don't think it would feel like a presence. Like a possession might feel like there's a presence there. But this is an inanimate object that's been shoved in your head. A sense of otherness invaded his mind, grasping for knowledge, searching for memories. He fought. He formed a wall of will and barricaded his mind. So much more description needs to go here. A wall of will. I mean, I get the basic premise, and this is a premise that is definitely used in fiction, but people don't normally call it a wall of will. But the searching tendrils swatted them aside and penetrated his memories. He watched helplessly as his life flashed by him. And this is all in italics. Dib, even the oddest things have great worth. What do you think you're doing? You must never touch. You brought them. You betrayed. Pieces of her hair and green skin fly, her violet eyes wide in shock. Forgive you. You are my Dib. Don't forget. Line break. Astonished, Zim stared in fascination as great drops of water poured from Dib's eyes. The human seemed to be having trouble breathing, but a brief examination revealed the situation was temporary. Reaching a claw into the hole, he grasped the chip and pulled it from Dib's head. Sure, just shove it in there and yank it out. Don't, think about, the damage you've probably done to his actual brain there. Satisfied, Zim rushed from the room, heading for the viewing room. Room. Don't do it. Chapter 7. Forget Me Not. This cannot be. I refuse to believe it. But there it was, staring Zim in the face. Dib's whole life laid out, every memory catalogued. But how? He hissed. No Urkin would dare. No Urkin could. We are all controlled by the control brain. How could one have slipped through? If Dib's whole life was what Zim just watched, then they were there for another 11 years. So, I need to be more careful with my wording about what he's watching and how long and what he's getting out of it. Line break. Okay, so we have here, this is all in italics because I guess we're getting the memories that I want to transmit to the audience. A small child with a huge head and a shock of black sickle-like hair crawls onto a female human's lap. I have just committed the memory sin! I hate the memory sin so much. Oh my word. Okay. The memory sin is when you have a flashback that includes being able to see the person whose memories it is. This is also a sin committed in the Harry Potter books, which actually there's a Harry Potter fanfiction that fixed this called Methods of Rationality. But basically, if you're seeing the memories of person A, you should not be able to see person A acting within the memory. In no universe does that work if you are seeing their memories. It's different if you're watching security footage of that person. Then you get to see that person. But if you are seeing their memories, you are not allowed to see them. You are only allowed to see what they see, which might include their hands, which might include a reflection in the mirror, which might include their legs. But it does not, under any circumstances, include seeing them as they interact with other people in the memory. A small child with a huge head and a shock of black sickle-like hair crawls onto a female human's lap. Water runs from his eyes as he stutters about how the kids at school keep making fun of him. Mama, I really saw him. It was Bigfoot, I swear. The woman smiles and holds him close. Ah, Dib, it's all right. It'll be okay. She pulls him away and studies his eyes. Listen closely, Dib. I may not believe in this Bigfoot you've seen. She silences his protests with a finger on his lips. But I believe in you. You're a very smart boy, Dib, and whatever you want to do with your life is all right with me. No matter what you do, I'll always love you. She smiles and holds him again. He wraps his arms around her neck, crying. He's probably crying because she didn't actually address what he was talking about. He's just like, oh, I don't really believe it, but I believe in you, and you can do whatever you want in your life. Insert parental platitude here. Line break. Dib runs to his mama, and this is, by the way, mama. I know this because there's an accent on the last A. Dib runs to his mama, holding something. Look, Look, Mama, it's proof! The government has been putting mutating thingies in our fertilizer. Look at this grasshopper. It has 2 heads. We should kill it so we can put it on display. Then they'll all know. I feel like Dib would have already killed it and just say, we should put it on display, and it's already dead. I don't feel like he would take into account the fact that he's killing something. Like, it's just, to him, it's just a weird insect. He'd say, you know, we should pin it on the board and put it on display. You know, he wouldn't say, like, I want to kill this thing. I don't think. Not at whatever age he is here, which I'm guessing is like 5 or 6. Mama opens his hands and gently pulls the crushed grasshopper from his hands. Ah, so it is crushed. Dib, she says sternly, even the oddest things have great worth. She takes it to her room and closes the door, leaving an angry Dib. Yes, angry because she, again, offered no explanation and just completely undercut him. I mean, look, you can have a character that does that, but the problem is I'm trying to make this person sympathetic. If I'm trying to make this person sympathetic, I need to make her actually understand Dib better, and I'm failing to present the model of a good parent that I'm hoping for. I mean, she's better than Professor Membrane, but that's a really low bar, guys. That's a really low bar. Line break. Dib slams the door. He is furious. His first piece of evidence gone, just because Mama didn't understand. And how could she? Dad says she crossed the border from Mexico. She can speak English well, but cannot yet read or fit in with the other people, which is why she stays home so much. I'm trying to figure out what level of insensitivity this is. Let me put it this way. Generally speaking, I don't want to get political in my fan fictions. And if I don't want to get political in my fan fictions, I definitely should have done something else here. In any revision, this would definitely be different. Also, I know where I'm going with this. I'm leading to the fact that she's actually Urkin in disguise. She can speak English well, but cannot yet read or fit in with other people. I have done nothing to display how she doesn't fit in with other people. Really, I need to be dropping a lot more hints here. Things she does that are obviously someone who isn't actually an Urkin would do. Urkins would pick up reading pretty quickly, I think. I mean, Zim did. So I don't know what this is about her not being able to read. Doesn't make sense. He sneaks over to her room and pokes the door open. She is asleep. Good. Maybe he can get his grasshopper back. Tiptoeing, he crosses the room to her dresser. There, on top, is the grasshopper. It lies in a kind of crystalline dome that shines in light. Stunned, he sees the creature has healed somewhat from his crushing grip. So, we're supposed to buy that Dib's mom is Urkin eventually, but that she's not smart enough to hide her technology, that she just leaves it lying around in the open. On top of her dresser, no less. Next to the dome is an ornately carved box. Maybe it contains another strange thing. He cautiously opens the lid and yelps at the great flash of light. He sprawls backward, shielding his eyes. In an instant, Mama is beside him, a horrified look on her face. The light forms into a screen. On the screen is a tall, stick-thin creature. It slightly resembles a human, but its skin is green. It has 2 antennae, and its eyes are a solid green color. Ah, looks like tallest spork. So the question is why a communication device for an Urkin is embedded in an ornately carved box. Again, wood carving would be completely primitive and foreign to them, and I don't believe that she would have her communication device hidden in or embedded in a box like that. And again, sitting out in the open on top of her dresser. Ugh. So the light forms into a screen. Tallest spork, I guess, is on it. Ah, Invader's stock. S-T-O-K. We wondered when you would contact us. We have learned of your defection. What happened? When? What? I mean, are we sure she's defected? Are they sure she's defected? Like, how did they find this out? What happened? I mean, I understand that some things the reader doesn't have to know. But you know who has to know? The writer has to know. The writer has to know And I didn't. I'm just like, oh, they found out she defected. I have no idea how that happened. I'm supposed to know, actually, because if I know, then actually little details will crop up in my writing that confirm this. We have learned of your defection. Congratulations! We've finally pinpointed your location and we'll be dropping by with a housewarming gift soon. Tallest out. The light disappears and the box explodes, showering Dib and Mama with splinters. It self-destructs. It's her piece of technology. What did you think you were doing? She towers over him, screaming. You should never have touched that. Why were you here in the first place? Dib's lip quivers. I wanted my grasshopper back. Your grasshopper? Your grasshopper? Her voice becomes shriller and her form wavers. Get out! Get out! Line break. Dib is still grounded. He sits in his room tinkering with his toolkit. Okay, so we've pinpointed your location. Dib is still grounded, okay, and his mom is still around. Still implies it's been at least a couple of days, and she's still in the same location. She hasn't taken off and run anywhere. A day? Dib is still grounded. He sits in his room, tinkering with his toolkit. Suddenly a great noise comes. He drops his tools and rushes to the window. A giant ship hovers above his house. His mother is in the garden, just outside his window. She's staring at the ship, utterly frozen in place, her trowel in her hand. Invaders stalk, disperse the hologram. Who's talking? Does this come over a loudspeaker, or is there an Urkin leaning out the spaceship window? No, she pleads. No, he mustn't see. Somewhere else, please. Somewhere else? Kill me somewhere else? Disperse the hologram. No! She clenches her hands around the trowel. She's not running, she's just sitting there. Her form begins to ripple, faster and faster and faster. Dib can't look away. Within seconds, his mama's olive-tan skin, rippling black hair, and deep violet eyes. Oh, which, by the way, we never got this description before. We probably should have got this description before. Are replaced with shockingly green skin, 2 antennae, and deep violet orbs, pleading mercy. So her shockingly green skin, 2 antennae, and deep violet orbs are pleading mercy. Oh, unpack this for me. I know I'm saying that her eyes are pleading mercy, but, again, This is lame. This is bad description. This is bad writing. Also, she's still not running. What I'm trying to get across is that the ship is forcing her hologram to disperse, but that isn't clear anywhere in this, except that she said no and it's happening anyways. Also, why do they need her hologram to disperse in order to kill her? Why don't they just kill her? And then her hologram will probably disperse. Mama, what are you? He stretches out his hands, pleading for understanding. So overdramatic. She turns to him, terror in her eyes. You brought them here. You betrayed me. Yes, the 5-year-old child betrayed you on purpose. No, it was an accident. I didn't mean to. A beam of red light shoots down from the ship and strikes her back. Pieces of hair and green skin fly off as her violet eyes widen in shock. Her body is peeling away. Her organs are melting. She reaches a skeletal hand to Dib. You can't do that. Your muscles are gone. Dib. She gasps for breath. Dib, forgive you. You are my Dib. Don't forget. She melts away, leaving a puddle of greenish-violet goo among the flowers. So she flips from betrayal to forgiveness, again, to a 5-year-old who had no idea what he was doing in seconds. If I was reaching for pathos here, and if she really did think that he betrayed her, it would be better to just leave those as the last words and have them just haunt Dib. You betrayed me. And she didn't have time or conscience. She's in incredible pain. I think I visited this in the last time. When you're in incredible pain like that, you're not really thinking about your final words. You're thinking, oh, this hurts, I hope it stops soon. If you're even capable of thinking that. Dib, I forgive you. You're my Dib. Don't forget. The ship roars into the sky, leaving a trail of blue smoke behind. Dib manages to scream, Mama! before collapsing on the ground. Chapter 8. Reporting in. Invader Zim reporting in, my tallest Red sighed. What now, Zim? Zim frowned. Where is tallest Purple? Getting our curly fries. Now what do you want? My tallest, I have found a half-breed. Red's eyes doubled in size, and he made small choking noises. What? Not possible. Incompatible. Incompatible. Now, at the time that I wrote this, I can guarantee you I was not thinking like physically incompatible. I was thinking species incompatible, like impossible for there to be offspring. But I'm just reading this now and I'm like, what is running through Red's head right now? Red's eyes doubled in size and he made small choking noises. What? Not possible. Incompatible. How? Who? Taking a ragged breath, he whispered, who is it? Oh, fanfiction has corrupted me over the years. I know exactly what he's thinking. One previously thought to be completely human, an inhabitant of Earth, one Dib Membrane. Red's eyes narrowed. The one you're always calling in to complain about? Yes, but that does not color my observations. I am sending you a complete report of my findings when I dissected him. You dissected him without permission? Red roared. Zim winced. I thought he was just a human. Besides, I kept him alive. He'll be able to walk in a few weeks. What did you find? In addition to several human organs, he seems to have something that appears to be a combination of a stomach and a squeedly spooch. Also, my chips have collected data from his brain, revealing his intelligence to be higher of any human in the history of the planet. Okay. Revealing his intelligence to be higher than that of any human in the history of the planet would have worked. But that's a mistake in my sentence. Despite the fact that his father is quite the scientist, it is statistically impossible that Dib could be the smartest human in the world. This is not a clearly written concept here. It needs work. Relaxing, Red queried, it's back on like I can't say asked too many times. What is a good synonym for asked? Thesaurus.com. Let's just go there. No, don't do it. Just say asked. If you don't know, just say asked. Relaxing, Red queried, well, what do you propose? Zim grinned evilly. Erkin Law, Section 8765-4G9P. A smile spread across Red's face. Excellent, Zim. You are temporarily relieved of your post at Earth. Bring this Dib to Urk. We will hold the trial here. There. Wiggling his antenna furiously, Zim replied, yes, my tallest. Line break. Really, Gur, it makes sense, Dib confessed softly. Dad never let me or Gaz go to the doctors. He always examined us himself. He never supported my claims about aliens. He hoped I would drop it on my own and not find out. Now I even remember the day he took me down to his lab and put something on my head. After that, I didn't remember what had happened to Mama, except what he told me, which was a lie. This is Exposition City, which I do still have trouble with. I mean, I do need to explain how or why he forgot this for so long, but, like, remembering this was just clunky. It feels very clunky, and there must have been a better way to hint at the fact that his dad erased his memories. Don't worry, Dib, lots of Urks got big heads, Gerd chirped. He hovered above Dib for a moment, then took off around the room, laughing. Dib closed his eyes in frustration. Forget it. You'll never understand. You're just an insane, maniacal robot that belongs to an evil little alien. Gur halted briefly and drew closer to Dib's cot. I'm sorry about Dib's mommy, he said contritely. Dib looked at him, then smiled crookedly. Chapter 9. Reception. 4 weeks passed quickly. Dib had not heard from or seen Zim, and he was concerned. What's he up to? He muttered. His only companion was Gur. The only reason Dib hadn't slid into mental collapse. I guess I can buy that as, like, how Dib has spent his time the last 4 weeks. And I know I'm about to do a flashback here, but I feel like I should go into more detail. Honestly, I feel like we should have spent a couple of chapters with Dib hanging out with Gur and seeing how that develops. That would have been a good place to expand on, frankly. Line break, and here we have a flashback to some of his time with Gur. Wee, big head, what you in the corner for? I got squirrels. Go away, Gur. Aw, somebody needs a hug. Get off me, Gur. And then the computer says, Gur, administer medication to Dib. Dib will not allow me near him. So the computer's not able to pin him down and forcibly administer medication? I mean, he was forcibly able to do other things earlier. Okie dokie, Dib. Computer says you gotta drink this icky stuff. Let me die, Gur. Dib, I just don't feel like he would say that sort of thing. He'd just keep pushing Gur away, but he wouldn't say, like, let me die. Aw, that's not fun. Now drink up. I'll give you your very own parakeet when you're done. Whee! Gur spun in circles on the floor, faster and faster. Dib glanced up from the corner, and at that instant, Gur pulled out of the spin and launched a spoonful of vile purple liquid down his throat. Dib spluttered and gagged in surprise. Gur grinned, Gotcha! I go get a parakeet. Woohoo! I don't think Gur is cunning enough to pull that off, number one. And number two, Urkin medicine is administered orally like earth medicine? I doubt it. Line break. Dib smiled. He had regained the use of his legs and could take short walks around his new prison cell, but he still had to be careful of his torso. Frowning, he yelled, Gur, where's Zim? Aw, Master's been real cranky lately. Says we gonna go home. Confused, Dib asked, What are you talking about? When did he say that? Lots of weeks ago. But it only took a day to get into Earth's orbit. He's not taking me back to Earth. His head snapped up. Gur, where are we going? Home! Home, 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 home! Shrieked Gur, giggling madly. Dib groaned. Stupid me. Zim's home. He's taking me to Urk. Line break. Zim relaxed in his control chair. He had practiced his docking maneuvers since Urkin the way I spell Urkin just bothers me every time. It is not I-R-K-I-N. He had practiced his docking maneuvers since Urkin Academy and could dock in his sleep. Casually, he pressed a button and eased back on a lever, bringing them into the docking bay. I don't know, I feel like watching a few scenes from sci-fi movies would have helped me do this better. Either describe it more or describe it less. Talk about how he docked and then talk about his satisfaction with the job he just did and, Stretching mightily, he cracked his knuckles and declared, Another perfect landing for Zim! There! You know what it should have been? It should have been. Casually, Zim pressed a button and eased back on a lever, bringing them into the docking bay. Stretching mightily, he cracked his knuckles and declared, Another perfect landing for Zim! Perfect. I just need to get rid of, Zim relaxed in his control chair. He had practiced his docking maneuvers since Urkin Academy and could dock in his sleep. It's unnecessary. The ship's bay doors swung open with a crack. Glaring, Zim launched from his chair, yelling, Who cracks Zim's doors? If so much as one scratch is found on them, I shall wreak such doom. Oh, my tallest, welcome to my humble vood cruiser. He wiggled his antenna reverently. Now, I understand that in my thing here, having a half-breed is a heinous and hideous crime, but I still don't think the Tallists would have come themselves in person. They would have sent their guard. Tallest Purple floated forward, an eager, hungry expression on his face. Why hungry? Bring us to this half-breed creature. Immediately, my Tallest. He clicked his boots and led them? All we have is Tallest Purple so far. I should say whether it's, obviously later in this I see that Red is there too, but all I said is Tallest Purple is there. I should have said what Tallest Red was doing, and what Tallest Purple was doing. So to establish they were both there. Tallest Purple floated forward, an eager, hungry expression on his face. Bring us to this half-breed creature. Immediately, my Tallest. He clicked his boots and led them down into the bowels of the ship. If he was using the Voot Cruiser is tiny. Like, the ship, whatever I'm envisioning, is much larger than the Voot Cruiser. Line break. Dib freak, stand and salute the tallest. Dib stood slowly. Okay, so I have those on the same line. I need to have a dialogue tag here. A dialogue tag is Zim said, or Zim shouted, or Zim commanded. Those are all dialogue tags. I have no dialogue tag here. I have Dib's action here, which actually could imply that Dib said it, but that makes no sense. So that needs to be fixed. Another thing, I keep saying tallest, but there's two tallests. So I feel like this is at the very beginning when I didn't really grasp a lot of Invader Zim canon. And he should be saying tallests this whole time, especially if both are in the room. Dib freak, stand and salute the tallests. Dib stood slowly. So, he murmured, these are the tallest you were always ranting about. Zim unlocked the cell door and stomped in, followed by two hovering aliens. I said salute the tallest! I have never established that Dib was locked up in a cell. He was in some sort of med bay, and as far as I knew, he kind of had the run of the med bay. Suddenly he's locked in a cell. I don't actually recall establishing that. So that should have been, where he was kept should have been established. Let me just go back and check real quick. Oh, I see. In the last chapter I say he regained the use of his legs and could take short walks around his new prison cell. So this ship is big enough to have a prison cell, a med bay, in the bowels of the ship. No, the Voot Cruiser was barely big enough to have Zim and Gur. This is not the Voot Cruiser for sure. At least I did establish that he was put in a prison cell. At least. But I should have spent more time on that, number one. And number two, there is no prison cell. The Voot Cruiser is tiny. I said salute the tallest! Why should I? They're not my tallest. He was flung against the wall so quickly he didn't know which alien had thrown him. I should say did here, so that we establish who was thrown. We know, but it's just better to be clear. He was flung against the wall so quickly he didn't know which alien had thrown him. His cheek burned. Reaching up a hand to cover it, he felt deep gouges and wetness. As I have said, he is quite an insolent creature. I apologize for his behavior, but you know lower life forms. Zim shrugged. Indeed, Tallest Red hummed to himself. Well, have him taken to our maximum security cell until the trial. They only have one maximum security cell. How about a maximum security cell? Not our, as if there's only one. It will convene in 3 hours. That will be all. Oh, one more thing. What was the name of the criminal invader who did this? Stock, sirs. Invader Stock. Purple's mouth formed an O, and Red's eyes became slits. Very good, Zim. Since you know this thing, we have assigned you to keep watch on him until it is decided what is to be done with him. We may even allow you to carry out the sentence. Zim chuckled evilly. What sentence? I haven't done any. Ah! Electricity shot through Dib's body. Zim resheathed his stun gun and saluted the tallest as they left. Sighing annoyedly is not a good word to try and use there. Sighing in annoyance, or annoyed, he sighed. Sighing annoyedly, he latched a set of strange-looking handcuffs on Dib and marched him out of the cruiser. Dib took in his surroundings at a glance. No trees, no grass, no animals. The only living things he could see were crowds of Urkins bustling about. Sheets of dull metallic substances paved the ground beneath him, and shiny silver buildings and towers stretched to the horizon. Okay, that makes it sound like the buildings and towers stretch horizontally instead of vertically. That needs to be clarified. I'd say stretched to the heavens and extended to the horizon as far as you could see, rows and rows extended as far as the eye could see. Where are your other life forms? He asked sadly. That's your first question, Dib? I don't think that's Dib's first question coming to Urk. I think he has a bunch of other... I think even if he's depressed, he has a bunch of other questions coming to Urk. Then where are your other life forms? I think that's like maybe 6th or 7th on the list. We had no need of them, Zim sniffed coldly. Anything even slightly inferior is instantly destroyed. I can't tell you what. Something about this feels off. I don't feel like he would say it like that. Zim believes everything about his world is good the way it is. He would have some very positive view of what was going on. He would word it differently. He would use different words to say this concept. Dib shuddered. Zim continued to drag him along. Soon Dib refused to look at anything but the ground in front of him. The planet is so dead. No beauty. No wonder they can't feel. Again, I really do not believe this is what Dib would be thinking right off the bat. He would be peppering Zim with questions until Zim shut his mouth for him or something. This is out of character. Line break. A brusque Urkin ran up to the pair, gesturing for them to stop. Zim! Over here, Zim! Invader Scooge, what are you doing back on Urk? Zim questioned. Scooge grinned idiotically. I got pulled back. They said they was going to reassign me to a nice place called, extermination. I always wanted myself a nation, and now I get to invade one. He beamed with pride. So I have Scooge here as a complete idiot, but I mean, if we're going by canon, he was smart enough to take over the planet that nobody else wanted to take over, the planet of the slaughtering rat people. So he's actually not stupid. He may actually be one of the smartest ones among them. Zim smirked. Very nice, Scooge. Now if you'll excuse me, I must reach the jail with this thing. Scooge's face clouded over. Oh no, Zim. Tallis sent me with a message to you. They said council meetings right now for the trial and to get over there as quickly as possible. I just said that the trial was going to convene in 3 hours. Now I'm like, oh, nope, screw that. I don't even want them to hang out in the jail cell. Let's just go. Yeah. Then what's the point of saying it would be in 3 hours? How about saying the council will convene right away? We will make sure that happens. You start heading in that direction now. Thank you, Scooge. You have been most helpful. Zim sighed. He pulled a microphone from his pack. Grr, get over here. Just over 2 minutes later. It's a little too specific. Just say a couple minutes later or something like that. Grr, get over here. Just over 2 minutes later, Grr zoomed into view. Hiya, Master. Want some taco? I made it myself. Later, Grr. Right now, I need you to transport Dib and I to the council headquarters. Our presence is required. Why is he asking Grr, who he knows to be unreliable? Why is he not just flagging down a passing transport? I mean, I'm sure Urk has that sort of thing. Or going to the nearest teleporter or something. Yay! Do I get some presents? Just go, Grr. Grr's eyes flared red. I hear and obey, Master. Grabbing Zim and Dib, he rocketed down the street, leaving a trail of dazed Urkins in his wake. Okay, I am very confused. I have a line here, and I'm not sure why it's here, but there's a non sequitur quote from Invader Zim at the very end with no indication about why it's there. Not a line break or author's note or anything. It just says, the smell of that cheese! It sickens, and your lippy, smacky noises aren't helping. Which definitely was one of my favorite quotes, but why is it there? It's not part of the story, obviously. Why is it there? I can only assume I forgot and left it in the document. Chapter 10. Revealed! Invader Zim, lead the prisoner forward. Zim pulled Dib forward onto a lifter, which dropped them to the center of an arena. At the far end, the tallest presided. The thousands of seats surrounding them were filled with Urkins, jostling each other for the best seats. A hush fell over them when Dib was brought into view. Dib cowed. No, the word would be coward. You could say Dib was cowed, but you can't just say Dib cowed. It doesn't work like that. Dib cowed, fixing his eyes on the ground. Much to his annoyance, Zim felt a pang of sympathy for the Earthling. He had had to face the Tallists in the arena full of Urkins when taking the invader's oath. Stand straight, Dib, he hissed. Fear is a sign of weakness. See, I have established no reason for Zim to be sympathetic to Dib. No, not a single one. Zim did it as an invader, Dib's doing it as a prisoner. There should be no sympathy here at all. Stand straight, Dib, he hissed. Fear is a sign of weakness. Dib stiffened and stared ahead. What now? He asked. You will be tried, but we all know you'll be convicted. Why? What did I do? Zim snorted. You're a half-breed, Dib. Invader stock paid the ultimate price for diluting the perfection of the Urkin race. They will expect no less from you. Dib swallowed hard. That should be on a separate line, not on the same line. But it's not my fault. His breath came in quick spurts. Automatically, Zim patted his shoulder. Be brave, soldier. Aghast, he snatched his hand away as if Dib had burned him. The problem is, Zim has not been shown to be sympathetic even to other Urkins. He's been shown to be jealous of their success, to be, horrified if they're going to do better than him. He's been shown to throw them, under the bus, metaphorically, sometimes in literal ways, throw them in front of the Hogulus. I see where I'm going here, that it was an automatic gesture, he wasn't thinking, but even not thinking, this is just not part of his psyche. I can't bank on that happening. No. What I mean is, you were... Zim clenched his zipper-like teeth and gritted out, you were a worthy adversary, and his face contorted, I respect you. Again, I haven't paid for this. Nowhere along the line have I indicated that Zim thought Dib was a worthy opponent. I mean, I guess I assumed that everybody kind of knew that, and there is definitely canon evidence for this, but I didn't pay for this detail in my fanfiction. I didn't build it up nearly enough. I should have dropped some more things about what Zim respected about Dib here. Before either of them could react to Zim's confession, Tallest Red called the trial to order. Line break. Dib Membrane, state your race. Wringing his hands, he quailed, I no longer know. State what race you previously believed yourself to be. Human. Home planet? Earth. How long have you believed in the existence of what you call aliens? Why is this necessary? Why do they need to know? That's not a relevant point at all. And would they use that term for themselves? And how would they know that that's the term he would use for them? They don't know him. Since I was 2 years old. Invader Zim, please repeat that in Urkin terms. He means since he was a very small smeet, almighty tallest, explained Zim. See, they should just kind of look at each other in confusion. 2 years? What is that? They shouldn't say, repeat that in Urkin terms. That's clunky. Red smiled. Good. Now, we have read the reports made by Zim. No, you didn't read it, you watched it. You made a visual report. Well, he might have written to some guy. See, I don't even say what kind of report he sent. Was it written? Was it a compilation of the memories, which would be a visual format? Was it an audio log? I didn't say what it was. I should have said what it was if I want to say we have read the reports made by Zim. He charges that along with your normal human organs, you have a cross between a stomach and a squealy smooch, a fully Urkin heart, and an intelligence level no human in the history of your planet has been able to boast of. You sure about that? Because he's made some real stupid, idiotic, boneheaded decisions with that brain. Purple continued, from the tests we ran on your DNA. When did you run tests on his DNA? There was no time. There was no 3 hours in the cell where you could have done this. I had you all go straight to the trial. There was no time when this could have happened. This story is a train wreck. It is because I say so. From the tests we ran on your DNA, you are the son of Professor Membrane of Earth and Invader Stock of Earth. Do you have matching DNA from Invader Stock and Professor Membrane? Oh my word! When did you get the DNA of Professor Membrane? Oh, this is a train wreck. From the tests we ran on... I can't do this. Oh, this is ridiculous. From the tests we ran on your DNA, you are the son of Professor Membrane of Earth and Invader Stock of Urk, one of the last packless Urkins. So, how did she have a hologram if she had no pack? Where's your hologram? Was it, like, I know that there are times when I've used, like, a patch as a device for a hologram in my stories, but one of the last Packless Urkins. When we called up her file in DNA, we found further incriminating evidence that... But, Dib interrupted, what was criminal about what she did? Didn't Zim already tell you that half-breeds are outlawed? He glanced at Zim's furious features. Almighty tallest, he added reluctantly. He wouldn't give like that. Pretty sure. Both scowled. According to Urkin Law, Section 8765-4G9P, any Urkin shameful enough to dilute the perfection of the race, such as she did, is condemned to death, along with any descendants he or she may have had, whether or not they were conceived before such heinous actions. Wow, that is oddly specific. I wonder if that's about to come into play any moment now. Purple's face twisted into an evil leer. See, a leer is a very specific facial expression that usually means you're thinking dirty thoughts. Purple's face twisted into an evil leer. So you see, Dib Membrane, I'm afraid the only decision available is to sentence you to death. What kind of phrasing is that? You will be injected with a serum composed of nanobots that will flock to your heart and stop its beating. Again, oddly specific. I think they would just say the name of it and not even bother to explain to him what it does. And maybe Zim would have to say, oh, that's going to stop your heart. Or something like, why? I don't know, this just feels very clunky. That way, we can still have your body intact for any tests our scientists may wish to conduct. Again, why would he lay all this out for Dib? Dib is beneath them. If he was saying this... maybe the tallest should be talking between each other like, oh, but we should preserve his body for our scientists. Good point. We'll use this injection because that'll just stop his heart. If they were talking to each other, that would actually make it more believable that they're going into detail as they decide how to put him to death and why. Dib is beneath them, so why are they answering any of his questions? Zim noticed Dib's form beginning to crumple beside him. Stand! Stand! You are representing your race, your planet! You must stand! He whispered tersely. Again, Zim showing this kind of empathy is really beyond him at this point. I haven't paid for him developing empathy at all. And representing your race? No, he's not. Dib isn't human. We just established he's not fully human. He can't be representing his race and his planet. And he's also an abominable half-breed, apparently, so why would Zim... Zim should be just as disgusted as everybody else. Somehow, Dib found the strength to straighten, but the expression on his face struck Zim cold. Never before had he seen despair or defeat on Dib's face. Really? You didn't check on him when he was in your med bay, asking to die in the corner of his cell? Are you sure? Shaken, the alien grasped his arm and began to lead him away. We have not concluded the trial, Red's voice thundered. Sighing, Zim turned around. It's iffy whether or not he would have made this lapse. I don't think he would have, though. The tallest do harp on ceremony. They'll conclude the trial officially in a moment. As I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, sneered Purple, we researched Invader Stock's file and her DNA sample, searching for any other beings she may have birthed. We found that, aside from Dib Membrane, she birthed a single, purely Urkin Smeet. Invader Zim, you are sentenced to the same fate as Dib, for you also were born of the late Invader Stock. Dun dun dun! Well... yeah, I think I've had enough of looking at this story for today. That's been another 5 chapters of Another Set of Eyes. You know, when I get people who like this story, I appreciate you. You are very kind, but the story is so full of holes. I do want to make one thing very clear here, though. I'm making fun of my own writing. In that, I'm not actually trying to make fun of the people who like this story. Again, I really, really appreciate the people who like this story. I am embarrassed for myself. It's many years later, and I'm going, I could do so much better than this story. And I'm picking this apart because it's my writing and I can do that. By going through my really old writing and saying what could have been better and how to the best of my ability, I want to explain to you, I don't know, just better methods. This is not scripted, so I'm not that great verbally yet. Anyway, verbal floundering aside, thank you for joining me. This has been another edition of Dusting It Off, and I hope you will join me for the next 5 chapters of this trip into the past.